All right, Unit 7 is all about solving equations. And for the very first lesson, 7.1, is all about solving equations by adding and subtracting. Notice there are two options for assignments. You get to do mild or medium, depending on how well you understand this lesson. So if we think about this kind of a problem, we have a variable that we don't know what it is, what it represents. It's an unknown. And we're saying that in this case, this unknown x, when we add 3, it equals 5. So a lot of you probably can immediately realize that that number, that x, that variable, has to be 2 to make this equation true. But x could be 5 or 6. It just would make this equation false. In this unit, we will be solving equations to make the equation true. But also note that in the future, you will be solving much more complex equations, and those complex equations, if I can make this move, I'm not sure why it won't move. Let's see. Oopsies, that didn't work. So in this equation, well, it won't show up, but in this particular equation that's underneath this box, it's super long, and it wouldn't be possible to solve this equation using just guess and check. So knowing that this is 2 is very easy, but with a really long equation, it's not easy. All right, try this problem. This is an equation where we have 2 plus 5 on the left side, and we have an equal sign, and then we're looking for the missing number that should go in the box, that when we add 1, it equals 2 plus 5. Be careful, don't immediately say that this number in the box is 7. An equation says that 2 sides are equal. It's a little bit like a balance. And we're going to see with some tools on different websites that a balance looks like this. We're also going to do this in class. So if I notice in this problem, if I have 2 on this side, it shows that the balance is not even. It's not at its equilibrium. If I put 2 on this side, though, it will be equal. And that is the point. Using equations is to always keep it balanced. We use this to be able to find numbers we don't know. So we can also use a visual with money bags. If we were to balance 2 sets and we don't know how much is in this bag, if we know that the bag plus 4 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then we should be able to figure out what the bag is. But we're going to talk about steps to do that so that when you get really complex equations, you'll be able to still do those. All right, let me see if I can come back to this and move this. That is really weird, bizarre. I have no idea why this won't move. Sorry. All right, maybe one of you can help me solve the problem later tomorrow. So what is this number, though, that should go in the box? It's not 7. It should be 6. Think about it. If I put 6 in here and I add 1 to it, then it would be equal to 7. And 7 equals 7, which we all know. So just please remember that an equal sign does not mean you write the answer right after it. It just balances 2 sides to an equation. So we have it aside this side, and they have to stay equal. All right, in your packet, I would like you to please open up. Sorry, this is a little bit longer away. Okay, look at the pre-assessment. You can go ahead and check your answers. Show all your work for full credit. You may want to come back to this at the end of the unit for extra practice. So pause the video to correct your answers. Then pause the video again to correct the next set of answers. And then don't forget the last page. Pause the video. If you just copy this, I will know that you did not try these problems. I want you to try them first. All right. Please don't forget to do the questions and the specific goals. Turn to the next page and please copy this vocabulary. An equation is a mathematical sentence with an equal sign, like 3x equals -8. Symbolic method is an algorithm used to solve an equation, and it's very, very important. We'll sing a song for this, but you need to write this down as undo solution check. 1, 2, 3. And here's an example. The first line is this is the problem that you would be given, x minus 4 equals -7. The undo step is where you're going to add 4 to both sides. The undo means that instead of subtract, we're doing the opposite, and we'll learn that in a second. And then x equals -3 is my solution. That's why I put a box around it. And then I plug it back in to make sure that it works. So we're going to see, oh yeah, if I put in -3 for x, then it does equal -7 when I subtract 4. So undo, what we just talked about, is the inverse operation. If we are subtracting 3 from a number, y, then to undo, we have to add 3. And whatever we do to one side, we'll learn we have to do to the other side. The solution is the value for the variable that makes the equation true. For example, 10 plus y equals 25. Y would have to be 15 because it makes it true. 10 plus 15 is 25. The check is when you plug in the solution to the original equation, just like this. 10 plus 15 equals 25. And I would love for you to write a check mark to prove that you did that step. Inverse operations we're going to talk a lot about. Those are pairs of operations that undo each other, like add undoes subtraction, and multiplication undoes division. If I do 5 divided by 5, the undo step that equals 1, to undo that, we could do 1 times 5. And isolate the variable. This is what you're going to use with the more complex equations and even the simpler ones. You have to get the variable alone on one side of an equation in order to solve that equation. So for example, x plus 7, x is not alone, so we have to get rid of the plus 7. And we do that by subtracting 7 from both sides. All right, here's time for your notes. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. Please jot that down right away. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. And that's because, remember, we have a balance. In order to keep it balanced, if I mess with this side, if I add 2 to this side, I have to add 2 to this side as well. All right, please, underneath one-step equations, write this down. 1, undo what was done to x. 2, solution, get the variable by itself. 3, check, plug it in, plug it in. If I'm going too fast, pause the video and go back. All right, for 1, and then for fractions, remember to get rid of a fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. So remember that 1/2, the reciprocal would be 2 over 1. All right, number 1, the way we're looking at this is we have a variable that's been added to 12, or 12 has been added to the variable, and it equals 10. So circle that variable first. That's the thing that you want to figure out. That's the money bag that we don't know the value for. So to undo, you will have to write this out. And again, it's very important that you show all of the steps. I'll explain more in class. So you need to write out the -12 and the -12. It's not okay just to do it in your head. And then please write that this is number 1, undo. You don't have to do this every time, but the first time I need you to write out the steps. Okay? This positive 12 or this plus 12 and negative 12 cancels out. I'm sorry, the add 12 and the subtract 12 cancels out. And you're just left with m. That m equals -2. That is your solution. But we have to check and make sure that it actually works. So we're going to replace that money bag on the balance with -2 and see if it works. So I do this whole thing, I rewrite, but instead of m, I'm writing -2. And I'm trying it. Is -2 plus 12 equal to 10? Well, yes, it is. And you can use a calculator to check. But please write down, number 3 is the check step, and that is very important. Okay, number 2. This equation looks backwards, and that's okay. Any balance can be turned around. I can flip around a balance, so I can move this to this side. And if that helps you, you could totally rewrite this problem. So I could rewrite this problem as g minus 9 equals negative 2, if that helps. Okay, notice that we're always going to keep our equal sign lined up. So please draw a line underneath the equal sign. You can do that on every problem. Draw a line under the equal sign. Okay, and then we are going to undo what was done to the variable. So the variable is g. I'm subtracting 9. So the opposite or the inverse operation is to add. I add 9 to both sides. So negative 2 plus 9 is 7, and that's our solution. Don't forget to check. This third step is to check. Undo, solution, check, plug it in, plug it in. So plug it in. Instead of g, I'm going to write 7. So now I do 7 minus 9. Is it equal to negative 2? Yes. Check. That's good. Okay, over here, again, I have a problem that I need to solve, but we're going to come back to this later. If you'd like to jot down the notes, you may. But this is the multiplication and division. Number 3 and 4 are multiplication and division, and we won't be doing that until tomorrow. If you are feeling like this is really easy, then look down at the fraction problems. You will be doing your medium homework with fractions. But we will come back to that again tomorrow in 7-2. Okay, so looking ahead to your homework, you get to choose between mild and medium solving one-step equations. I have to see the steps, otherwise I will not give you credit for your work. We can explain more or we can talk more in class. So please come to class with your completed notes and do not copy these answers. And that, oh, here's that equation that I wanted to show you. This super complex equation is the reason we can't just do it without showing work. All right.